What is going on, guys? Happy Friday, TGIFF, right? So, this year I actually got a chance to check out the Sundance Film Festival. It was all online this year, obviously, which made it able for me to be able to experience it. And I wanted to talk a little bit about not only my experience with the festival, but I wanted to go ahead and rank the movies that I did see. Not a very impressive number. I only got a chance to see 5. Life got in the way. There was no way in hell that I was going to come anywhere near like my buddy Zach that saw like 30 something films and ranked all of those. So if you're somebody catching this video, you want to see much more films, I would recommend his channel, Zach Pope, and check out his ranking. He saw quite a bit, but I saw 5 movies. I wanted to talk about a few of them. I figured it might be more fun to do it in a live stream format so that I can talk with you guys in the comment section about them. But yeah, so Sundance 2021, it was interesting because you basically had to apply for it if you wanted to be like a press, get a press ticket like I did. And they approved me. And basically what happened is you get a certain amount of time to pick what movies you want to watch, go ahead and schedule them out to pick your, seats, digital seats at these various screenings, of which they had 2. The first screening would be, the premiere of it, and you would have to wait a certain amount of hours before you could talk about it or do any kind of formal review. And then they would have a second screening that you'd pretty much be able to talk about it 24/7. And the first movie that I watched, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if it was going to be all in HD quality. I wasn't sure how the streaming quality was going to be, if there was going to be a chat board, what was going on. And I was actually impressed with how well this was all presented. So you go onto the website, you go to whatever movie you've already signed up for. And it was pretty easy to go into movies that I didn't initially sign up for. It wasn't like I had one shot and that was it. You click on it. There's an optional Q&A that you can look at with usually the filmmakers, and then the movie starts. And I just hooked it up to my TV and watched it in 1080p the whole time. So that was a pretty cool thing. And as far as the ease of use of the site, the ease of use of being able to go through and schedule out these movies, that was all pretty user-friendly as well. It was a little strange at first trying to do it on my phone. I definitely recommend doing it if you do it next year on your PC or your Mac. The phone was a little bit wonky, but as far as getting into the schedules, the online experience of this festival was a lot of fun. And, despite the fact that it would be cool to go to the actual festival whenever the world opens back up, I hope that these festivals do keep an online option for people like me that can't travel as easily as everybody else, because I'd like to do it again. So as far as my experience, that's pretty much how it all sums up. I saw 5 films. And those of you that have already seen my my review for the one film that I wanted to review, I only liked 1 out of the 5. I don't know if it was just, it's luck of the draw, basically. You go in, they show you one still image to promote the film. They give you a plot synopsis, and that's all you have to go off of, aside from maybe some buzz. So I really just went off of the pictures and the synopsis and picked 5 movies that seemed interesting enough to me. And I don't know if maybe I just picked the wrong ones. It was luck of the draw, I rolled the dice and I came up goose egg every single time except for 1. Or if, obviously with my movie taste, I'm a little bit more of a genre flick guy. Something like Fantastic Fest would probably be more up my alley. Maybe Sundance is a little bit highbrow for me. That's possible as well. So ranking them in order from 5 all the way up to 1. My number 5 is actually the movie that I was most excited to see, which is very disappointing. It was actually the only movie at first that I was like, if I can't see anything else, I'm watching this one because it has to be awesome. And that is Prisoners of the Ghostland. Now, as you can see from the picture, Nicolas Cage is in this. And I'm actually going to go on the Sundance website and read you the synopsis for this film so that you see what they're promoting, how they're promoting it, and how I made my decision. And this here is the only image that they gave to show the film. That's it. That's all you get. You don't get trailers. You don't get anything. You get a picture. You get a synopsis. So, Prisoners of the Ghostland, in the treacherous frontier city of Samurai Town, a ruthless bank robber, played by Nicolas Cage, is sprung from jail by wealthy warlord the Governor, played by none other than Chop Top himself, Bill Moseley. And that was the clincher. Whose adopted granddaughter, Bernice, played by Sofia Boutella, who did The Mummy with Tom Cruise, has gone missing. The governor offers the prisoner his freedom in exchange for retrieving the runaway. Strapped into a leather suit that will self-destruct within 5 days, the bandit sets off on a journey to find the young woman and his own path to redemption. Sounds pretty fucking badass, doesn't it? This movie's weird as hell. Which you could expect a little weirdness with Nicolas Cage, but the way that they worded that plot synopsis, I immediately just thought John Carpenter. I thought like Escape from New York. I was thinking that this is going to be like, okay, you know, maybe this is going to be wild. Maybe this is going to be interesting. There's probably going to be action packed. Maybe, you know, Cage is going to be able to unleash and go full Nicolas Cage. And then you get, you know, Bill Moseley in there. And I figured he'd probably be a scenery chewing villain or something. Just the picture in my head that I had of this movie was infinitely more awesome than the reality. The reality is this is a really strange, slow, quirky, weird film that doesn't even really fully use Nicolas Cage to his strengths. And the humor in it is just kind of weird and off kilter. There's literally like his suit is not like a bomb suit. There's like little like glowing orbs in certain places on his suit, and they can explode one at a time if he pisses off Bill Moseley. Well, at one point in the movie, one of the two down on his crotch explodes, blowing out his testicle. And he literally just jumps around going, oh, 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 like the most comically cartoonish, weird reaction ever. And like, this is like 15 minutes into the movie, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we watching? I hated this movie. I didn't enjoy it at all. And it seems to be very polarizing because I've seen social media reactions. And the first couple that I saw were from more highbrow, more auteur film fans that I know. And they were like trashing it back and saying, this is weird. I don't know what the hell I just watched. There's no pace. What is this? And I went, they're just not genre fans. This is definitely going to be up my alley. Nope. They were wrong. Or I'm sorry, they were right. So you're going to get two different reactions. You're going to get, man, this is bonkers. This is crazy. This is insane. This is exactly what I wanted. And what the fuck did I just watch? And I belong to that camp. So number 5, unfortunately, was Prisoners of the Ghostland. So hopefully his little Friday night at Freddy's or whatever the fuck movie is going to be a lot more interesting than that one. The next one, number 4, is actually the first movie that I watched this is the second movie that I watched. I'm wrong. So this was the second movie that I watched. And I'm going to show you this picture. And I'm not going to be able to see your comments before I comment on it. But tell me the first thing that you think of. This is all I got. This is the image that they showed for the movie In the Earth. Now, I don't know about you, but I saw that and I said, oh, wrong turn. Oh, slasher movie. Oh, something like that. No, I was wrong. And I think they chose the worst, most misleading promotional image to show. So in the Earth, as a deadly virus ravages the world, Dr. Martin Lowry embarks on a mission to reach test sites, a bunch of numbers, a research hub deep in the arboreal forest. The arduous journey, guided by Park Scout Alma, is set back by a nighttime attack that leaves the two bruised and shoeless when they run into Zach, a man living off the grid. They gratefully accept his help. When they run into Zach, a man living off the grid, they gratefully accept his help. Zach's intentions aren't exactly what they seem, however, and a path out of the forest and into safety quickly fades as the line between myth and science blurs. Now, that's actually a pretty fair synopsis for what tone and what direction this movie's going in, but that image is what really stuck with me. I was like, okay, it's going to turn into like a psycho slasher movie. They're going to be on the run. There's going to be like post-apocalyptic, mountain men or something going on. And it's really not that at all. Like, all I could think of the entire time I'm watching this movie is, oh, they're trying to make a statement about COVID. That's basically what it is. You get two scientist characters that are going out trying to find this base, and a couple people that are living out there rob them. And this guy, this hermit dude, comes up and offers help, and he ends up being like an absolute psychopath. He's believes in the science, and he believes in the plague, and he's like a cultist of the environment around him, and he doesn't want them to leave. He like worships it almost like a god, and he's trying to hold these people to like, hey, you're part of my cult now. And the whole movie is just about them trying to get away from him, but it's not nearly as interesting as it sounds. It's not really gory or violent or tense or anything. It's just kind of meandering. And so that was really disappointing for me that, again, this image here, me being a slasher fan, I was like, oh, cool. No, not cool. I don't know this writer-director, Ben Wheatley. He did Sightseers, and I've never seen that film. So High Rise and Free Fire, I guess, are some other genre thrillers that he has done, unless this is misinforming me. But I've never seen any of those, so I didn't have anything to go off of for the director as far as context. It was just a movie that, to me, was just all about commenting on something that we watch movies to get away from at this point. I don't really want to be preached to about COVID at this point. So yeah, not a fan of that one. Hey, Trey, we got a super chat. Thank you so much for that. Let me see what you guys are saying in the sky. See, right there, right up the alley. Who the hell wants to watch a movie about COVID during the COVID pandemic? Thank you. That's exactly it. That was the whole thing. I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm trying to escape this bullshit, not have you beat me over the head with your take on it. Oh, man. Congrats on 50K. Pissed that I missed the Q&A live stream. Had to go to work, and by the time I realized you had done one, it was too late. No problem, Trey. I appreciate it. Oh, man. Okay, so moving on from that, we have number 3. This was the last film. Was it the last film? Prisoner. See, I'm so clouded that I don't even remember. This was not the last film. Prisoners was the last film. This was the last film that I watched with my wife. She did not enjoy pretty much any of these. And, let me get rid of that comment. And this film is called Coming Home in the Dark. This is the only image we got. And the synopsis, let me pull it up. Coming Home in the Dark. Winding down a desolate road through an endless valley, Alan and Jill stop their car to take their teenage boys on a hike through the New Zealand wilderness. As they rest for a picnic at a clearing overlooking the water, 2 ominous-looking drifters appear out of nowhere, silently surrounding the peaceful clan and radiating a threat of imminent danger. With a swift act of violence, these men take the family by force, a seemingly random decision that sets them all on a maddening collision course with the ghosts of their past from which there is no escape. So I read that and I think, okay, this is going to be like either a kidnap movie and they're trying to get away the whole time, or somebody's going to die and it's going to be like a revenge thriller in the works. And essentially the plot tells you the first, 15, 20 minutes of the movie. You get a family, they stop, they're having a picnic. These 2 rugged looking bastards come out of nowhere, surround them, and shit goes down, and then they're in a car, in an SUV, going down the road, and the remaining family is basically just brutalized the rest of the movie, not like in a gory way, but just kind of mentally tortured, and tortured with the fact that something happened that they couldn't really do anything about. And the whole time they're basically hinting at the patriarch of this family, the father, that there was some kind of a past that he had with this school that possibly these 2 rugged gentlemen went to. They don't really say specifically what all happens. They kind of hint towards it. I don't know if it was molestation. I don't know if it was just abusing kids physically or mentally or what, but they basically spend the entire movie showing you how fucked up these 2 guys are, and showing you how hurt this family is, and then trying to somehow like spin it on you to where I don't know if they wanted you to sympathize with these 2 guys and start to kind of demonize the father, but they wanted to kind of twist it as in, oh, this wasn't a random thing. There's some kind of a broken past here that they're trying to get him to own up for. And I just don't feel like they landed that at all, the entire movie. First of all, the movie is extremely frustrating because even though movies, obviously, it's easier to watch them and say, oh, I would do this. You should do this, stupid. It's easier to do that when you're watching a movie than it is in the real situation. I understand that. But when you watch this film, if you ever watch it, there is so many instances where one of these people in this family had an opportunity to stop this or do something or make a move. And it just got so infuriating that they weren't doing anything. And it was pissing me off because like I'm watching it. And knowing what happens in the beginning, the events that kick it off, I'm like, okay, like something like that, you basically have nothing else to lose. Just fucking do something. Like you're just going to sit here and wait for them to torture you or wait for them to kill you or get wherever the hell they're taking you. Fuck that. Do something. And there was like a moment where they're driving, they're in the back seat. Obviously, one killer's got one, the other one's got the other one in the front seat, and they're driving and they literally pass two emergency vehicles, one of which is a cop, and they just kind of sit there. And I'm like, bitch, grab that fucking wheel and just jerk it over into the ditch or something. And then you got cops right there to save you. Like there was moments like that where I'm like, fucking do something. So that frustrated me all the way through. But then when you get to the end and you realize whatever they're trying to say with this movie, it just didn't land for me. You know, when you see the event that happens in the beginning, the opening act, it to me, there's no way that you come back from that and say, okay, I understand the killers now. I understand why that they would do that. I understand these two kidnappers and, you know, maybe the patriarch's a bit of a dick. Maybe he deserves some of the, it just doesn't get you there at all. So I really don't understand what they were going for with that film. It wasn't a miserable watch or anything. It was okay. It's just something I would never watch again. Nelly 1994. Thank you so much. For you, Cody. Wish I could do more. No, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, that was, Coming Home in the Dark. Not the best. This next one, which was number 2, and these four, as far as the gap between number 2 and number 1, it's a pretty huge gap. Like basically all the bottom 4 are all movies that I either really disliked, as in Prisoners of the Ghostland and Into the Earth, or In the Earth. And you have Coming Home in the Dark and this next one, which are movies that I was like, okay on, but I would never watch again. They just weren't really, they didn't do it for me. This one, number 2, is How It Ends. So this is a story about impending doom on Earth. You have an asteroid that is scheduled to hit the Earth, and you have the main character, which is the woman on the left, and the right is basically her mental projection of her younger self. And she goes throughout the film and goes to a bunch of people that she knows that she either has, you know, broken ties with, or has some regrets with, or has some unfinished business with. You basically go throughout the movie and she's trying to tie up all these loose ends before the Earth is obliterated by this asteroid. And to me, that sounded like a really interesting premise. I wasn't sure if it was going to be comedic, if it was going to be dramatic, or what direction it was going to go. But for the first movie I was going to watch, it seemed like an innocent enough pick. So the synopsis that they give is, on the day an asteroid is scheduled to obliterate Earth, freewheeling Liza scores an invite to one last wild gathering before it all goes down. Making it to the party won't be easy, though, after her car is unceremoniously stolen and the clock is ticking on her plan to tie up loose ends with friends and family. With a little help from her whimsical younger self, Liza embarks on a journey by foot across Los Angeles as she seeks to make peace with her regrets and find the right company for those last few hours. Now, right before I started this movie, there was a little Q&A section. Like I said, they're optional to watch. I skipped all the rest of them, but this one I watched just because I wasn't sure how long it would go on or if they were going to give pretext to the movie. And I found out that the main actress, this woman here on the left, is actually the writer and co-director, Zoe Lister-Jones. And I was like, why the fuck do I know that name? I know that name. I've heard that name. I've written that name. I've done some. I know that name. And it was bugging the piss out of me the whole time they were talking. So I finally Googled it. And the answer that I was given is, oh, this is the woman that just wrote and directed The Craft Legacy. And I was like, fuck me. I'm watching this chick's movie. God damn it. So right when I was getting ready to start the movie, I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. The Craft Legacy wasn't miserable, but it went way off the rails in the last 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, fucking, oh, this is going to be terrible. And this is much better than The Craft Legacy. I will say that. Where the movie goes right is that I like the central message of it, which is, you know, going for forgiveness, kind of letting bygones be bygones. That's kind of the in-your-face direction of the story. But also, when you have these two characters, one of which is the main character on the left, and then the other one is the projection of her younger self that she talks to all the time. The movie, at the end of the day, is about not only accepting yourself, but valuing yourself. Like, she's a very lonely, kind of secluded person. And throughout the movie, every single time her younger self is like, well, you got me, I'm here. She always says something to the effect of, yeah, but you don't count. Like, not in an insulting way, but like, yeah, I know you're here, but I got to go find these other people, or I want to fuck this guy, or, you know, something like that. And the whole movie builds to the point where she finally says, you know what? The person that means the most to me, the person that's the most important is myself. And I like that. I thought it was on the nose enough to where pretty much anybody could get that message by the end of the film. It wasn't like you had to like dig through metaphors to get to it, but it's a pretty good little message, you know, for somebody like me that I am a little bit introverted. I am somebody that likes my seclusion. I like being able to have peace and quiet sometimes. It's a theme that makes sense and that hits home for me about valuing yourself. So I like that. And I like the two leads. I think that they're both really good. The younger one, the younger self, is the girl who was the lead in The Craft Legacy, and she was good in that movie too for what she had to work with. But where the movie goes wrong for me is that not only is the style of the movie very repetitive, because it's essentially just her walking through Los Angeles and she just stops and talks to this person, and it's pretty much a celebrity cameo. And then she keeps walking, talks to herself, then she finds somebody else and it's a celebrity cameo. They keep walking, they find somebody else and it's a celebrity cameo. I mean, they got Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They've got Olivia Wilde in here, a couple others. It's just these celebrity cameo mini scenes throughout the entire movie, and it gets a very repetitive rhythm to it. Aside from that as well, the style of humor is just not really my style of humor. It's a very dry, kind of quirky, like Juno style humor that just doesn't really make me laugh. So even when they were going for laughs, it didn't work for me. So it's a movie that honestly, I watched it and I was like, okay, this is a decent enough time. I don't hate it. It was a decent start to the festival. I was like, okay, good. Luckily, I didn't hate this. Hopefully, there's better things on the horizon. I can definitely see this movie really appealing to some people that like that kind of quirky sense of humor or can appreciate all the celebrity cameos. For me, it just didn't do a whole lot for me. So that's about all I can say about how it ends. Interesting premise. Just didn't execute it in the way that appealed to me the most. Trey with another super chat. When do you plan on hosting your next Q&A? I'm not sure. Aside from subscriber milestones like 50K, they're kind of just random whenever I have time. If I don't have something I need to work on, but I want to chat with you guys, I'll do a random Q&A. I don't really schedule them out too much. So, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way to schedule myself out for live streams more frequently, to where I'll do like a commentary once a month, a Q&A once a month, something like that. But I just haven't quite had the time to hammer it out yet. I've been having an exhausting schedule with work so far this year. So before the end of the month, hopefully I'll have something hammered out to where, you know, for example, like week 1 of every month, I'll do a Q&A, and week 2 will be a commentary, and it'll be on like Friday or Saturday. So I'm not sure, but I will figure it out here soon. And then that leads us to number 1, which those of you guys that have watched my channel, you hopefully have already watched the review. Shouldn't be any surprise for you. And that is 8 for Silver. And let me tell you, if you haven't watched my review, or if my review wasn't convincing enough, this fucking movie's awesome. I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to make it sound like it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, it is. I gave what, like 4.5 or whatever. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it is, for a werewolf movie, it's one of the best and definitely the most unique that I have seen in a very long time. So this was the other one that I was probably second most excited to watch beyond Prisoners of the Ghostland. And the only reason I wasn't more excited was because I wasn't sure what type of style movie it was going to be. If it was going to be very A24-ish, or if it was going to be a little bit more genre flicky. And luckily for me, it found a nice balance between the two of them. So to read you the synopsis that they give you for 8 for Silver. In the late 19th century, brutal land baron Seamus Laurent slaughters a Roma clan, which is a bunch of gypsies, unleashing a curse on his family and village. In the days that follow, the townspeople are plagued by nightmares. Seamus's son Edward goes missing, and a boy is found murdered. The locals suspect a wild animal, but visiting pathologist John McBride, played by Boyd Holbrook, warns of a more sinister presence lurking in the woods. So they don't even tell you werewolf. I just kind of got an idea when they said wild animal that maybe there was something going on. And the fact that there was silver in the title, I kind of put two and two together and said, maybe it's werewolves. That'd be kind of cool. Let me check that out. And the opening of the movie, it opens out and it's this awesome shot of this war, this old school war. I can't tell you what war. I'm not a very good historian, but very old school soldier garb. And they have these weird masks and there's mustard gas going on. So maybe World War One. And this guy gets shot. They take him in, and you see like this gory ass sequence where people are getting their feet cut off and amputated and everything. And they pull a big ass silver bullet out of him. And then the movie immediately says 35 years previous or whatever, 25 years previous. And it goes all the way back to where he was a kid and tells the story from then on. And so as soon as I saw that silver bullet, I was like, it's got to be werewolves, right? And before the werewolf stuff even comes up, the movie is so gripping because you get this guy who's a total dick, this land baron, Seamus Laurent. And there's these gypsies out on his land that all have legitimate claim to that land. It's theirs. And in this one long take overhead shot showing this battlefield, these people ride in with horses and they fucking slaughter all of them. And then it goes into one of the more disturbing, realistic, gory sequences that I've seen in a long time, where they kill the last two gypsies, one of which is the one that puts the curse on the land. And then the children start to have nightmares about these two gypsies. And there's an image, which I'm not going to say too much about, that is a recurring image throughout the movie in these nightmares that was genuinely creepy, even before the werewolf stuff showed up. And this curse leads to people turning into werewolves and werewolves plaguing this village and taking everybody else out that was a part of this slaughter. And Boyd Holbrook is all at the center of it. He's a guy that comes in that knows that werewolves exist, that has a history with werewolf attacks, and is trying to convince everybody that this is going on. And he knows all the secrets. He knows how to kill them. He knows how to avoid them. And it was just a very badass movie to me. It's not like this huge action-centric genre flick. It's definitely a film festival type movie. It is going for a little bit more of that prestige A24 feel, but it's not slow and boring and meandering and minimalistic like a lot of A24 films are. It just kind of has that presentation to it while having some of the kick of a genre flick. So I absolutely loved 8 for Silver. I was excited as hell when that movie ended. I was like, fuck yeah, I get to tell everybody about this. I don't know when it's going to be released. Keep an eye out for 8 for Silver. It might be 6 months. It might be a few months. I really don't know. I've seen movies take as long as a year to come out after a film festival. But with the state that the world is in right now, with no major movie releases, or we'll see how many come out this year, it might be sooner than later. I'm not sure. But I'm telling you right now, if you like werewolf flicks, keep your eyes out for 8 for Silver, because it was worth watching the other 4 films and suffering through some of them to get to 8 for Silver. I'll put it that way. So that is my ranking of the 5 films that I saw, guys. Like I said, if you're kind of just finding this video, that's not the most impressive collection of Sundance films, but unless I took the next couple of days off of work, there was no way in hell that I was going to be able to watch more than the ones that I did. So that's all that I have for you in regards to that. Now, let's get to the chat. So I'll hang out with you guys in chat for maybe another half an hour or so. I knew this wasn't going to be a very long stream because I didn't have too much to say with only 5 films. But for right now, you guys can ask some questions. Speaking of Q&A earlier, if you want to keep them centric to the movies I was just talking about, asking questions about those, that would be cool. But I'll take random questions as well. But I'd like to keep it on topic if possible. Sky, glad to hear we finally got a great werewolf flick. No shit. Like I said in my review, like I kind of blamed Twilight, basically, but I blamed them for a very long time, that we haven't had werewolf or vampire movies in quite a long time because that franchise kind of stained that entire subgenre for a while. And I had a Twilight defender come at me in the comments. It was pretty cute. But yeah, vampire flicks, we've got quite a few of those. But werewolf movies, good ones especially, just feel like they're like decades in between. So yeah, I was very excited that I was able to walk out and say, damn, I have a werewolf movie that I can recommend. That's pretty awesome. Did you like Midsummer? I have a full review for it. You can find the answer to that. But spoiler alert, no. I have not rewatched it since theaters, so I don't know if it would change for me at all. I found it to be way too long. I found it to be incredibly slow. I found the overall message, the direction the movie was going in, the overall theme of it to be like right in your face. I didn't think it was subtle or clever whatsoever. I thought it was obvious. And you get those people, they're like, you just didn't understand the movie, you didn't get it. I'm like, no, that's the problem. I did get it, but I got it like 30 minutes in, and then there's another 2.5 fucking hours of movie left. There's some disturbing sequences in there. There's some good stuff. There's good production value. It's shot very well. I'm not saying it's garbage, but just the overall thing is just something that does not appeal to me whatsoever. So, no, was not a fan whatsoever of Midsommar. And I really liked Hereditary, so I was expecting big things, but no, not that one. Dazed and Confused or Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Well, if you watched my top 50 comedy video, you would know which one of those movies made that list and which one didn't. Fast Times at Ridgemont High by a country mile to me. I like Dazed and Confused, but Fast Times at Ridgemont High is endlessly rewatchable, endlessly quotable. It's a little bit more pop culture, a little bit, sunk into pop culture a little bit more, referenced a little bit more. So yeah, I think Fast Times is the better of the two. Let's see here. What is your go-to feel-good film? My go-to feel-good films quite often are like Disney Channel original movies, believe it or not, just because they kind of have that nostalgic feel that makes me feel like I'm a preteen again, which was a pretty peaceful time in my life. So that always makes me feel good. I watch like Johnny Tsunami or Brink or Horse Sense. That always relaxes the living hell out of me, and I can just enjoy myself. But movies like Uncle Buck, like old John Hughes movies, those tend to be pretty big comfort films for me. One it's not necessarily like in my favorites of all time, but it's one of those movies that for whatever reason, when I watch it, it's like one of those sweater movies. Like you just feel like you're kind of cozied up next to a fire. Dan in Real Life with Steve Carell. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but it's basically where he is going off to his family reunion, and Dane Cook is his brother. He meets Juliette Binoche at this bookstore on the way to the reunion, and is like instantly falls in love with her and regrets that he didn't get her number. And he goes to his family reunion. He's talking about this girl he met, and everybody's all excited. And Dane Cook shows up, and it's Dane Cook's girlfriend. So he's stuck at this family reunion with this girl that he's fallen in love with that he can't attain. It's a very feel good movie. It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's definitely smile funny throughout the entire movie. So that's one that I think is a pretty good feel good movie. Oh, let me see. I feel like I missed a super chat. Trey, we got one more. I know you're a fan of Dexter. Remember you're saying you're a fan of Supernatural, but I was wondering if you've seen Prison Break. Thoughts? I've seen all but let's see. I've seen the first 3 seasons of Prison Break. I watched Prison Break when it first premiered on Fox, and I was addicted to that show for the first season. And then it got to the point, because it was advertised for so long, like when it get to the midpoint of season 1 where they're about to escape, but like they installed that drain pipe or something in the escape route. And then the second half of the season is them trying to find another way out. They kind of teased you, from my memory, that was going to be the season finale. And then there was like this big couple of month break, and then you had to come back. So that took a lot of the steam out of my enjoyment when I had to come back for the second half of that season. And then I fell off of it completely by the end. I didn't watch season 2 because they left on a cliffhanger, and I was like, man, this is going to be one of those shows. But I want to say in 2013, 2014, maybe, my dad bought me the Blu-ray set of Prison Break. So I went through the whole thing again. This was after I was living on my own, had my own apartment and everything, which I know is 23, a little bit late, but shit happened. So I was on my own, and I was watching Prison Break pretty much every single day. And I watched the first season. I loved revisiting it. I watched the second season, and I said, holy shit, second season was even better. Watched the third season and thought it was terrible. And by the time the fourth season came around, I was like, I'm bored with this concept. I'm done. And it seems like the popular opinion is that season 4 is not all that great. And I did not watch the little revival season that they had. And apparently Wentworth Miller said he's not playing any more heterosexual characters, so you'll never see him on Prison Break again. Very weird stance to take. I mean, from an actor, you're paid to bring characters to life. You have this character that's iconic that you're known for, and because he's not gay, you're not going to give your fans what they wanted. It seems very strange, but that's a topic for another day, I guess. He can do what he wants. Where did I miss one? Let's see here. Mitchell Kinley, $24.99. Thanks a lot, man. That's awesome. I don't see a question. I don't know if that was just a donation. Hopefully I didn't miss it. Nope, it is. Okay, just a donation. All right. Thank you so much, Mitchell. It's awesome. And was that the last one? I believe I got all. Oh, no, there's another one. Josh Niebauer. Yo, just watched Blade Runner for the first time last night. Your 30-second review. I don't think I could review that movie in 30 seconds. Blade Runner is a movie that I was very excited to watch for the first time. It just had this cool style to it. Harrison Ford obviously is awesome. Ridley Scott's awesome. I was like, man, this is going to be a kick-ass movie that I finally get to experience. First time I watched it, I was like, that was weird. I don't know if I like that. It was a lot slower, a lot more story heavy than I figured it was going to be more actiony than it actually was. And Harrison Ford's character, I was a little put off by because he's not necessarily this badass bounty hunter guy. He kind of gets his ass kicked the whole movie. And he only lives at the end because Rutger Hauer allows him to. So that kind of was just such a opposite of what I expected that I didn't quite get into it. The second time that I watched it and kind of knew what to expect, I enjoyed it much more. It is a movie that I would say that I like. It's not a classic. It's not one of my favorites. It's not something that I'll probably watch more than every 3 years, maybe. But yeah, the second time that I watched it, and I don't know what your initial opinion is, maybe the second time that you watched it, I liked it a lot more. Justin, Cody, I know you're not a big fan of found footage movies, but have you ever seen the Powspy tapes? I don't know what the fuck that word is. The blah, 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 tapes or Lake Mungo? No, I've not seen either of those. As far as found footage goes, my favorite has always been Chronicle. I always thought that was the most badass use of found footage. And I did really like The Last Exorcism. I haven't seen it in probably 6-7 years, but when I first saw it, I thought it was actually genuinely creepy and made sense to be found footage because they were filming a documentary the whole time. So those are the two that I technically go to, that I tend to go to whenever somebody brings up found footage and wants to know which ones that I liked. But no, I haven't seen either of the ones that you mentioned. That's funny because Wentworth Miller played Chris Redfield, possibly the most muscle-filled character in Resident Evil. Yeah, and he was totally miscast for that, but that is funny. Like that's the thing. I get wanting representation. Like, I'm not want to make a big thing about this. I get that, and especially if you're a gay man yourself, which he is, I understand being that much more driven to say, "Hey, we need more gay characters." I totally get it. But as an actor, what's the problem with playing a straight guy? Like, there's straight actors that play gay characters. There's I don't know. I don't understand his motivation with that. It kind of feels like you could get that done without saying "fuck the character that I'm known for." It's a little bit weird, but like I said, it's his choice. Do you like the band Smashing Pumpkins? No, not really, honestly. The only song that I even know by them is I don't even know the name of it. Is it? It's the one that everybody knows, like the one that plays on the radio all the time. I'm not really a fan of that one. I don't even know the name of it. That's how much I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, it's just not my thing. Let me see. Have you watched Psycho Goreman? No, I had never even heard of it until I did my stream on Felicia's channel, Girly Gore, the other night, and she had mentioned it on the way out. So it's on my radar. I don't know enough about it to jump into it quickly, but I've had a few people ask me about that. So it must be making the rounds. It must be like Terrifier. Now that's just the must watch of 2021. How are the werewolf designs in 8 for Silver? The CGI is a little bit spotty, I'll be honest. I should have mentioned that in my review. I don't know if I did. The transformation itself, I thought was really unique to the point where I was so like confused at what was going on the first time that it happened. I didn't even know if werewolf was going to be at the end of this thing. But the design of it, I thought it was cool. It's definitely unique. There's some CGI here and there that is either really good or a little bit too shadowed. And maybe it was the copy that I watched too. Who knows? In particular, there's an underwater sequence where somebody transforms underwater that I felt was very distorted. But I like the werewolf designs in this. I thought they were cool. They're unique. Aaron Anderson. Cody, other than the Halloween 18 crap, was there a time you wanted to quit YouTube? I mean, I didn't even want to quit YouTube during the Halloween 18 crap. I was just kind of like, all right, fuckers, bring it on. No, there's never been a time since I've started that I've wanted to quit. There's been times when I needed to take a break, but that's all that I needed. Just needed to step away for a while. It gets exhausting, and it's not even so much like events like that where it's just a lot of trolling. It's just everything that comes along with it gets exhausting sometimes. The comments, trying to keep up with the comments, trying to keep up with all the private messages. More than anything, it's the private messages, because you get two different kinds of interactions with private messages when you're in a position like mine. You get people that act like a normal human being that are like, hey, love your channel. What do you think about this? Or just wanted to say thanks for all the entertainment. Or, I even get some really heartfelt stuff like, hey, I had a really hard time during these months and your channel kind of got me through it. Just reminded me of all these great movies. And that's the stuff that I love to read and I love to interact with. On the other side of the coin, you get a lot of and I don't want to act like I'm making fun of them because I do feel bad for them to a degree, but you get very socially inept, secluded people that just have no idea whatsoever how to interact with other human beings. And they'll either message you the weirdest fucking thing or the most uncomfortable thing that they probably don't intend to be that way, but it totally comes across that way. Or you get somebody that messages you something and you don't respond right away, so they just keep messaging you. Like, I can't tell you how many times, and you can ask any YouTuber that has any sort of following, and they all have one or two of these stories. I've had like 4 dozen of them where somebody will message like, hey, what do you think about if Jason Takes Manhattan all took place in New York? And, it's a question that I either am not in the mood to answer because it's an obvious answer, or I'm busy, or whatever the reason is, I don't answer it. And then a couple hours later, why do you hate Seed of Chucky? What's your favorite this? What do you think about this? And it's just like for days and for months, some of them. I don't know why I blocked them. Maybe I'm just curious how long they're going to go on. But I've had people for months just talking to themselves, not getting a response. And it's just like, the more questions you ask and the more you keep messaging before I finally come back with something, the less likely I'm actually going to. And that might sound mean on one side of it, but if I had an example, it would make more sense. But you'll just get really weird or just odd questions that you don't really have an answer to. And rather than getting in a conversation with somebody that you feel like it's not going to be a very enjoyable conversation, it's easier just to not respond. But some people just don't take the hint. And then you also have people sometimes where they'll ask a normal question. Hey, love your channel. Keep it up. Good work. And I'll be like, thank you. And they're like, it's like 85 more paragraphs. And I'm like, fuck, busted the lid off of Pandora's box with that one. So no, that was a long-winded answer, but there's times where keeping up with all of that, plus doing content, plus balancing personal life and work, sometimes I just need to get away for a while. So that's about the most that I've needed, is take a couple of weeks off and just kind of decompress and get away from everything. Let me see. Tyler Jackson. I really, really want to see 8 for Silver. Ever since I watched your review, I'll be waiting for that one because I've been in desperate need of a good werewolf flick. Too few out there. I'm telling you guys, keep an eye out for it. I hope I'm not overhyping it. I don't want people to be like, oh, you made it sound great. It was just pretty good. Like, keep modest expectations. Don't expect like American Werewolf in London or The Howling or something like that. But it's very exciting for me that a movie of this quality comes out for a werewolf movie, because it's been a long time since I've seen one. So keep your eyes out. Cody, if Sundance released recordings of the movies at the festival, which ones would you go back to watch? The only one that I genuinely wanted to watch that I missed was Judah and the Black Messiah. That's something that pretty much everybody's coming out of that festival raving about, already talking Oscar talk. A lot of that was their number 1, number 2, number 3 movie of the festival. So that was the only other one that I wanted to watch. And I was signed up for it, but unfortunately the screening time for it started at like 9 p.m. on Sunday. And I get up at 4:30 in the morning to work. So I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to watch a movie like this, which is probably going to be a little bit more slow, dramatic movie, until 11:30 at night, and then go to work 5 hours later. So I just missed my window. It was just too late for me to check it out. So if I had a screener for that, like just a standalone screener, I would be watching that tonight because I was interested in it. Nathan Oswald, are you skeptical about the werewolves in RE8? Nope. Not skeptical about absolutely anything about that game so far. I think everything looks pretty awesome. Is the gore in 8 for Silver practical? Yes. There is some CGI with the werewolves, and I'm sure there might be some computer effects with some of the gore, but the body horror is pretty gnarly in this one. I don't want to overhype that either. It's not like David Cronenberg head exploding shit, but there's feet getting chopped off. There's decapitations with the non-werewolf stuff that looks real. There's literally a scene where a werewolf tears somebody's arm mostly off, and what's hanging there looks real, like an arm that's about to be just torn off. So yes, the gore in 8 for Silver is practical. I'll give Wentworth the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's just uncomfortable at this point. And I understand. I mean, to be fair, I haven't watched the guy's entire filmography, but to be fair, it's possible that he's played heterosexual men his whole career. And he's just like, okay, tired of playing somebody else. I want to play somebody I identify with. And again, I get it. Maybe if he worded it a little differently than the article that I read, it would make more sense to me. But I just thought it's odd. If anything, put an asterisk, like except Michael Scofield. Let's see. Have you seen the Lost Boys sequels? Yes, and they're both terrible. The third one's better than the second one. The third one's at least mildly watchable, but they are garbage. Garbage. To the point where I just act like they don't even exist. Like I really hope that I don't get bored enough to where I have to do like a review series, because I've already reviewed The Lost Boys. I had to review that one, but 2 and 3, ugh, garbage. Let's see. I always get scared thinking about DMing a YouTuber because I feel like I'm bothering the hell out of someone who's probably already busy. Don't feel scared about actually sending the message. The issue is never that we get messages. The issue is if the message is fucked up or weird, or if somebody just doesn't take silence or no for an answer. Like, I try to respond to every good message with at least saying thank you or answering it to some degree, but don't expect to have a full-on buddy conversation for days on end or hours on end, because a lot of us are very busy, not only with YouTube, but personal life, kids, wives, work. So yeah, some people, it blows my mind that they think that sometimes when they message you that now you're the center of their attention. And it's like, no, I just said thank you. Aaron Anderson, yeah, it's creepy as hell for people to do that, especially if they constantly bother you. Very odd. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had that, but I have had quite a few of people that just keep messaging stuff. Message. I'm like, whatever. Didn't you have a guy who really bothered you over The Last of Us? I'm assuming you're talking about the guy that I had to make some public Facebook posts about. And no, that wasn't the same thing. That wasn't somebody that was privately messaging me. He had been on my Facebook page for a while. And 90% of the things that he would comment were always very strange, but I never really, never bothered me that much. I just kind of ignore it, move on. But yeah, when The Last of Us 2 came out, he was one of those people that had read the leaks and was like very vocally against it. So anything that I posted about it, he was like talking about the leaks, or to, I think Cody's going to hate this. And it's just like, why do you want me to hate it? Like, even if you don't like it, why do you want me to hate it? When somebody says, hey, I'm going to watch Freddy's Dead for the first time, you know what my answer is? It's, man, buckle up. I fucking hate it. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully you enjoy it. When I was talking to Felicia the other night, she loves Seed of Chucky. She's like, I really enjoy it. I was like, I'm glad you enjoy it. I don't want everybody to have the same miserable experience that I had when they watched the movie. If you could find something that you enjoy, that is awesome. So this fucking guy, he takes that hard stance of, I read the leaks and this doesn't make sense and this is ridiculous, and just hammered on it for fucking weeks. And to the point where he got to where he was actually like dropping full on spoilers in the comment section, and it started to piss me off. And I literally told him, I'm like, stop, or I'm stop dropping spoilers. You're legitimately starting to piss me off. And then he just kept going. So I deleted him. I deleted him off of Facebook. I was like, okay, I'm done. I wasn't a friend of yours anyway. Your shit was always weird. And now you're just flat out ignoring me when I'm saying stop. So fuck you. Bye. And he made some kind of a weird public Facebook post that obviously I can't see since I unfriended him. That was like this long diatribe about how I betrayed his friendship and I can't believe I threw it away over a video game, and just painted me as this fucking weird loser that like got it pissy about an opinion and deleted. And I'm like, I don't fucking know that dude. I'm not a friend of his. And of course, you had all the fucking drum-dums camping there. Talking about, oh, yeah, that guy. Or, oh, that's such a childish thing. Just jumping on anything negative that they can try to believe about me. And so that was fucking hilarious. But yeah, so I had that. And then I publicly responded to that and was like, I don't fucking know this guy. For anybody that read that, you should know better to believe some stupid shit like that. At least come to me about it. And then months later, I had said something about Spider-Man 3 on Twitter. And he made a Facebook post in response to my Twitter post that I still couldn't see because I wasn't friends with him. And I was just like, this fucking guy is nuts. Like I think he has plans drawn up somewhere to turn me into a skin couch. And then I had somebody message me about 2 weeks ago on his behalf, basically saying, hey, he's willing to let bygones be bygones. You should give him a shot. And I was like, fuck him. Do not ever message me about him. He's a weirdo. He's a creep. And I hope you're watching this because you're a fucking weirdo and you need to just learn how to be a human being. I'll see your public post whenever you post it next time. Or at least somebody will tell me about it. I won't see it. Oh, people. Trey just recently watched 10 Things I Hate About You. Probably one of the most underrated teen rom-coms ever. One of my favorite movies of all time. I wouldn't call it underrated. It's pretty popular. I mean, that kind of was one of those era-defining movies. There are very few people that are in my age range that don't know and love that movie. So I wouldn't call it underrated, but yeah, that's cool that you finally discovered it. It's a good movie. It's very good. We were actually talking about that. A lot of things are calling back to my stream with Felicia the other night. So we were talking about was it Bride of Chucky? Where it was Bride of Chucky, where Katherine Heigl's role originally, she said that Julia Stiles was supposed to do that, but she dropped out of it so she could do 10 Things I Hate About You. And both of us were like, oh, that was probably a good choice for her career because that movie's pretty iconic and definitely gave her a lot of work. Let's see. Hey, Cody, hope you're well. Will you be watching and reviewing Wrong Turn 2021? Well, you know what? This is as good a place as any to go ahead and announce this. Not that it's a huge announcement, but for some people that might be exciting. So I actually filmed and edited a review today that will be dropping tomorrow afternoon, which will be kicking off my Wrong Turn review series. I did not have a chance to check this movie out in theaters, the new one, but it is coming out on VOD later on this month. So I figured, you know what? People have asked me about doing these movies for a while. I avoided it like the plague because I don't think I'm going to have very many good movies to go through in that series. It almost became part of the second 31 on 31 that we did with all the second level slashers, but we kicked it out of there for a couple other franchises, thank God. But yes, so I have a Wrong Turn review that I filmed today, and that'll be coming out tomorrow at noon. And over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be reviewing all the other movies. I believe there's 6 of them, not counting the reboot. I'm still not sure what it is exactly, if it's part of the canon or not. And then the new one, let me see exactly what date that comes out. So Wrong Turn 2021. See, it is going to be released on VOD. You motherfucker. Of course it's not on here. Okay. I'll take the easier route because I already ordered the Blu-ray and it should be the same exact fucking day. Wrong Turn 2021. So this releases on February 23rd. So between now and the 23rd, you'll get all 6 reviews of the Wrong Turn movies, and then I will review the new one Unless I can get a screener for it, maybe I'll review it a little bit earlier. But for sure, it'll be at least the 24th at the latest, and you'll have your Wrong Turn review series. So if you guys are fans of that franchise, there you go. That's what you got to look forward to. And I've gotten a lot of questions too about Dexter. Mother Mayhem's having some camera issues right now. Her camera, I don't remember exactly what she said, if it's not recording or it's not recording sound. There's some kind of an issue that she's having that the only person in her area that can fix it, like the professional, camera repair shop, is a non-essential business right now that is closed up in Canada. So she's kind of screwed unless she wants to record on her phone or record on her webcam, which she just doesn't want to do, which I understand. So she has her season 4 review filmed, but she didn't get to do an intro. So if we can fashion together an intro for her, we'll get to season 4 sooner than later. But I'm pretty much waiting for her on that one because I started it with her. I obviously want to finish it with her. I don't want to be like, okay, sorry, I'm moving on. That's not who I am. So those of you guys that have been excited about Dexter, we are doing our best to get it back onto it. But that's the reason why it's been delayed. But yes, so you've got that. You get the Wrong Turn review series. I'm going to go and finally finish out the Romero of the Dead series, which I kind of forgot that I took a break on. So somebody's like, where the fuck's the next Dead movie? So I'm going to get those next 2 out, which is what? Survival of the Dead, Diary of the Dead. And provided that they don't delay the bitch again, we'll get rolling on Saw again here very soon. So I already have things planned for Saw that are going to be pretty entertaining. So I would say if I don't hear an announcement about it being delayed, I would say by the end of February, you'll have Saw 5. So keep an eye out for that as well. Let's see. I know I missed a couple of them. Let's see. Diamond Dog's Puppy. Do you think a modern horror film can be as groundbreaking in terms of gore, suspense, and pure practical effects like 1982's The Thing? They can, but they won't because CGI is just so much cheaper. I just don't see anybody, unless it's a director that just has carte blanche like James Wan, and he's like, fuck it, I'm spending a lot of money on practical effects. I don't think you're ever going to see a movie that goes balls out the way that The Thing did ever again. I hope I'm proved wrong. Let's see. What horror movie did you used to hate and now you love? None of them. I don't have any movie that I used to hate that now I turned around and love it. I don't tend to swing that far on the pendulum. If anything, I'll have a movie that I was mediocre on that I like a little bit more, or maybe a movie that I didn't like that I actually am now mediocre on. I don't do these huge pendulum swings to where it's like, first it was shit, now it's my favorite, or now it was my favorite, now it's shit. I don't do that. Let's see here. Hashtag don't turn Cody into a skin couch. I agree. Let's see here. Cody, have you seen Becky with Kevin James? Yeah, I did a Evil live stream months ago where I talked about all of the VOD movies that I had watched over the summer. And Becky was okay. Becky was a movie that I honestly only watched because I was curious how Kevin James was going to fare as a villain. And he was, entertaining enough to watch. And the movie had some pretty decent gore in it. Beyond that, I didn't think it had a whole lot to offer. I thought that the formula is something that we've seen many times before. A lot of people said it was a gory version of Home Alone, and that's pretty much what it was. I thought that Joel McHale was embarrassingly bad as the father in that movie. I thought his acting was dog shit. And there's this whole thing about Kevin James trying to find this, he's got this key to something and never really explains what he's there for. I thought that was kind of weird. So yeah, I was okay on it. I was lukewarm on that one. All right, guys, I'm going to take 5 more questions and then I will be done for the night. Let's see here. Don't do it, Cody. Too late. I put it off as long as I can. Thank you, Caleb. All right, let's see here. Where is a question? Be careful after the second one, you're entering a shit show of movies. Oh, I'm sure, which means I'll be able to be very entertaining with shitting all over them, and I'll be able to crank them out fast. How do you feel about Wrong Turn 3? I have never seen any of them after 2, and I don't remember anything aside from Henry Rollins being in it in regards to 2. So really the first one's the only one that I remember. 2 onward is all pretty much going to be first-time watches. Are you excited about the Game of Thrones prequels? No, not really. I've had enough Game of Thrones. That was a show that I definitely enjoyed for the binge that I went through on it. Whenever I watched Game of Thrones, it was the month that the finale was airing, and I had already watched I think the first 2 seasons years before, where I was trying to get through it, and I just kind of watched them over a few weeks and then I dropped off. But my wife really wanted to watch it, so we started back over. We binged the whole series start to finish in a little over a month, maybe a month and a half. And I enjoyed it for the most part, but it's a very long, taxing show. It's not near my favorite show or even my top 10 maybe favorite shows. I just think it's a little bit too deliberately paced for me personally. There's a lot of patience required for that show, but some awesome stuff in there as well. Like there's a lot of great payoff. But I didn't enjoy it to the point where if they said, "Hey, we're doing more, we're doing prequels, we're doing," I don't care. I'm not interested whatsoever. I've had my fill. Thank you. Have I ever seen Collateral or 8 Mile? I have seen both, and they are both over there in those shelves. Collateral is awesome. That is a great Michael Mann movie with one of Tom Cruise's best roles, and one of the few movies that I really genuinely enjoy Jamie Foxx in as well. 8 Mile, another really great movie. It's kind of a lightning in a bottle because you don't really see Eminem act, and I think even though he's basically playing himself, he acted pretty damn good in that movie. I like the story. I'm not a rap fan at all, but I do like the story there. I like the song, Lose Yourself, and some of the other stuff in the soundtrack. So yeah, I enjoy 8 Mile and especially Collateral. Do you think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is worth playing? I think all 3 of the Tomb Raider remake games are worth playing. Shadow's the one that I've completed the least of, but I downloaded it because it was on PlayStation Plus, so I plan on jumping back into it. Let's see. Have I got to check out Possessor yet? No, I keep forgetting. I move on with life and then I forget that it exists. And 2-3 weeks go by and someone asks me, and I'm like, fuck, I got to watch that thing. And then I forget again. So no, I will try to watch that this weekend, actually. I don't know how many questions that was. I'll take 3 more. Oh, shit. Any update on your Warrior movie review and your 100 movies of all time? Brian has taken the entire month of February off. He's got some personal things that he has to work on. Not like he's fine. Don't check up on him. It's work related stuff. But he's taking the whole month of February off, and I'm doing that with him. So I'm probably going to work on it throughout February and release it in March whenever he's ready to. So in March, you'll get 100 movies of all time. And as far as a Warrior movie review, I don't really have any plans. There's a lot of movies that I'd love to review that it will be on that 100 movies of all time. Warrior's up there. But I don't have any plans to do a standalone review at the moment. Let's see. I saw a question. For 31 on 31 Sci-Fi Edition, possibly in the future, you could add Star Wars, Planet of the Apes, Terminator, Back to the Future, and Blade Runner. Does that equal 31? I'll have to check that one. If that equals 31, then hell yes, that will definitely happen at some point. I have talked with Brian specifically about a 31 on 31 Sci-Fi Edition. It wasn't all of those movies that you have in front of me right now. There was some other picks, but yes, there's a lot of different ideas, little worksheets that I have going for different 31 on 31s that yeah. I'm way ahead of you on the thinking there, but I'll double check those franchises and see if they add up to 31, or if you can just confirm down below, yes, they're 31. I'll be like, all right, sold. 2 more. Would 8 for Silver make your top 50 horror films? No. I mean, a brand new movie wouldn't make my top 50 horror films no matter what, I don't think. It would have to be like fucking mind-blowing, incredible. And I'm not saying 8 for Silver is mind-blowing. But no, it wouldn't make my top 50. Top 50 is a pretty sacred thing for me. I don't think there was very many new movies on that list. It's movies that I love, that I've loved for years. All right, let's find a good final one. Yes, they do equal 31. Interesting. Okay. Let me go back up. Let me type those down. Bear with me for 1 second, guys. So I just want to type these down just so I don't forget them, because then I'll kick myself in the ass. So let's see. Star Wars. Apes. Terminator. Back to the Future. Blade Runner. You might have made Brian's year. But yes, no promises. No promises, but that is... Did I miss one? Back to the Future, Terminator, Star Wars, Planet of the Apes, Blade Runner. Oh, okay. My thing just was typed weird. All right. So, yes, I'll look into that. Thank you so much for the idea. It always helps when they actually add up to 31. A lot of people are like, you should do this. And I'm like, that adds up to like 38. Oh, shit. All right. Let's find a good final question. Mitchell, thank you so much once again. Here we go. We'll end on this one. Do you think we're getting a Child's Play 2019 sequel? I don't see any reason why we wouldn't get one. It doesn't make any sense for me why they wouldn't do one. It was financially successful. They made a pretty good profit. It was one of the more high-grossing movies. Let's fact check this real quick. So let's see. Child's Play movies box office. Probably take me to Box Office Mojo or some shit. The numbers. All right. So it is the third highest grossing of the franchise, behind the original and Bride of Chucky. And it's significantly higher than any movie since Bride of Chucky. It made 43,000 worldwide, 43.5 million. Sorry, that would suck. 43.5 million worldwide. Bride of Chucky was at 50 million worldwide, and the original is at 44 million worldwide. So it came this close to being the second highest grossing. And there wasn't a whole lot separating it from being the highest grossing, honestly. I think if there wasn't so much negative bullshit online, it would have actually crossed that. So they have absolutely no excuse whatsoever not to do a sequel financially. Creatively, I think there's no reason not to as well, because you had a lot of things going for you in that movie. I thought the direction was great. I thought that the characters were really good. I thought that the new twist on who Chucky was and, the AI and everything was interesting. The kills were awesome. And it left in a point where it basically just sets up a sequel easily. You can just write that the doll's back. That's the great thing about Child's Play. It's easy to explain that resurrection. And it would be very easy for them to fix the mistakes that they made in the first movie, namely the design of the doll, and make the doll a little bit more evil, a little bit more smart in this one, to where he feels more like classic Chucky that we know and love. I think you could easily make a better sequel. And I thought the first one was pretty damn good. So yeah, I really don't. I would be shocked if they just said, no, we're not doing it anymore. I would be like, well, what the fuck was the point of that then? You went through all that bullshit and drama just to go, 43.5 million. It's not quite 80 million. One last one. Oops, hang on. No, only made like 30 million. No, I'm looking at the box office results right here. It made 30 million domestic, 43.5 worldwide. Let's see. Shit. I thought I just missed a super chat. Where was it at? There it is. Cody, will you do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre slay list? I'm probably not going to do any more of the slay lists. And it's not because... It's because of YouTube. I'll just be honest with you. They hate those videos. For the amount of time and just meticulous effort that goes into making those, I'm talking about days of editing. YouTube demonetizes all of those videos that I've done. For whatever reason, the Freddy one survived, but the Halloween one and the Friday the 13th one, which were 10, 20 times more work than the Freddy one, they demonetized them. It was hard to find clips that weren't going to get flagged. They would take it away for violence. Like they're basically profitless videos. And not to sound like I'm only doing it for the money, but for a video that takes that much work, I'd like to get some return on it. So yeah, they're just, I'm never say never. I'm not going to say I'm never going to do it, but I'm like 70% sure I'm not going to do any more of those. Maybe the only other franchise that I kind of would like to do it for is Saw, just because it's all individual traps. So I think it'd be cool to like rank the Saw traps, but that's not quite the same thing because there's kills in that movie that don't have to do with traps. But yeah, unfortunately, like I'll pull up the numbers for you right now and then I'll get out of here. But like, see, let me go into my info here. The Child's Play one too. The Child's Play one was a fucking nightmare because there was a clip that they actually blocked the video worldwide for. And so I had to re-edit the whole thing and take that out of there. And then after re-editing it, re-uploading it, and encouraging people to go watch it again so that it doesn't shit with views, they fucking took the monetization away from it because it wasn't deemed advertiser friendly. So the Halloween slay list is currently sitting at 41,000 views. Lifetime revenue. Let me see. Is this lifetime? June 14th. Yeah. Lifetime revenue for the Halloween slay list is $12. Days of editing. Lifetime revenue, $12. The Friday the 13th one, which was even more so, it's sitting at 29,000 views. Lifetime revenue was $30. It's a little bit better. The Chucky one that I had to edit twice and publish twice, sitting at 8,000 views because I had to publish it a second time. So I don't know what the other views that I deleted were. They still count towards my channel, but they're gone as far as this video's engagement is concerned. Lifetime revenue, $3. Now the Freddy one, for whatever reason, survived all of that. And the Freddy one got me really excited for the potential of the series. That's at 50,000 views. Lifetime revenue for that video is $243. And it's because it never got copyright claimed. It never got deemed non-advertiser friendly. For whatever reason, that one survived. But the other ones that have been an absolute bitch to put together, and I'm proud of them, but a bitch to put together, I could make a random ranking right now that would get more money than all three of those videos together. So not just talk about money. I know some of you guys love it, so I love providing that stuff, but for the amount of work that they take, YouTube just fucking stabs them right in the heart, and I don't understand why. When you have I don't want to sound bitter because it's hard to mention dead meat without people being like, oh, you're jealous. When you have a channel that is entirely consisted of kill counts, where they literally just talk about the kills of the movie, and he's the one of the top people on YouTube, how the fuck is that allowed? But what I'm doing is like just getting skewered left and right. So I don't know. I'm a little bit bitter with what YouTube has done to those videos. I think it's fucking horrendous. The return that I get on those. So I don't know. That was a long-winded answer for your question, Trey, but that is it, guys. So not to end on a down note of no more slay lists, but thank you guys for watching. Anybody that watches for the first time, interesting video to find me on, but hit that subscribe button and you will find a lot more that you will enjoy on this channel. Hopefully next year I can do Sundance again, or maybe the rest of this year I can be able to do Fantastic Fest or South by Southwest or something, and we can do something like this again. But keep your eyes peeled. I just dropped a video today ranking every PS5 game that I've played so far. It was just kind of a fun, quick little video, kind of like a PS5 update, if anything else. So check that out if you're into video games. That was fun to make. You got Wrong Turn review dropping tomorrow at noon. And then for the rest of the month, you're going to get the rest of the Wrong Turn series, maybe Dexter season 4, if we can fashion together that, and a few other things, of course. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for all that, guys. Thank you so much for all the super chats too. And I will see you next time.